Go. She's.
I will call to order and welcome everyone to the April 1st, 2019 Limestone County Commission meeting. Ham, do we have any public comment?
Yes, sir. The first one is Sean Coombs.
All right. Step up here to the microphone, please, sir.
All right. It's nice to go first.
Yeah.
Well, good morning.
Morning to you.
Gentlemen, ladies. Sean Coombs. I'm a resident of South Carolina. I am employed by a company in Advanced Drainage Systems and also Foltz Concrete Pipe and Precast. And I'm here to speak about resolution number 1, which is on the agenda. And my position with the company is I'm a national researcher, field guy, as well as an engineer for both of those products, concrete and thermoplastics. And really, when we got word of some of the conversation that happened at one of the previous meetings, I just wanted a chance to sit before you, offer our expertise, and simply make the request that at some point we have a chance as a company to work with the commission and the members in this area to show the benefits of competitive products. I think that's really what I'm looking for. My perspective is a national perspective for a company. I sit on some national committees. This is ASTM C13, which is a concrete specification committee. I sit on F17, which is a plastics company. I work with AASHTO, American Association of Highway and Transportation Officials. I sit on ASTM committees. And the one consistency I see is that the benefit of using products in this country is that as long as you look at them from a longevity and performance standpoint, and you look out for the benefit of the people, it really doesn't matter what product you're using as long as it applies to your particular needs. We're used by on our plastic side and concrete side, we're approved by every major state, every DOT in the nation in one form or another. Some approve us like Florida through every major application through interstates. 70% of the pipe going in Florida to date is thermoplastics. South Carolina, my home state where I live, probably 50+% of products are going in, of plastics are going in under interstates. Their two of their larger projects have gone in with thermoplastics under interstates. I-85 is one of those major projects. I-20 is another major project. And so we're consistently seeing the product roll out. I sit on a national railroad committee, AREMA, and we're used in railroad applications. And Norfolk Southern, CSX, BNSF use our products in many of their critical applications. The Department of Defense organizations use us in all their applications. Federal Aviation Administration uses us in many of their applications. And so there frequently has been a history of our product when it first came out not performing very well. If you look at the history of our concrete side as well, we started off with tremendous issues as well, and we've evolved since the 1900s, and we're in the 2000s. Our resin quality is much, much higher. The longevity of the systems are designed for 100+ years. So I think...
Go ahead and wrap it up.
I just really quick just wanted to simply say we would love to partner with you, but I think competition is a real benefit to you. So.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any more?
Brian Felder.
Hey, good morning. I had the privilege of coming before you guys last week, and I appreciate Sean coming down from South Carolina. He is definitely one of our experts with the company, and not just with our company, but in the industry, as you can tell from his resume. I did want to just bring up a couple of things, maybe reiterate some things from last week. I'm more of a local perspective, and I'm sorry, my name's Brian Felder. I live in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm the engineer products manager for the state of Alabama for Advanced Drainage Systems. One of the things that we brought up briefly last week, and I just wanted to kind of reiterate, is that we are approved by ALDOT, the Alabama DOT. Sean gave more of a national perspective. I'm talking more locally. For side drain specifically and storm sewer, and really side drain is the same thing. A driveway culvert is considered a side drain. So this isn't something we're asking, the commission or the county to ultimately decide something that goes against what the state DOT already approves. There are numerous counties, especially up here in North Alabama, Lauderdale, Colbert. I said that right? Colbert, not Colbert.
Yeah.
just like salmon and salmon. Madison County, City of Huntsville is starting to use our products as well. I could list another 10 or 11 counties at least that do. One of the issues that came up last week and that I was asked about, and I just wanted to kind of expound on it, was the issue of fire. And I understand. I think I said last week, given the correct conditions and an accelerant, there is the opportunity for there to be a fire. Now, Sean mentioned Florida DOT. They spent several years and a lot of money studying thermoplastic pipe before they actually approved it. One of the things they were concerned about, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, a little fun fact, the state that leads the country in number of lightning strikes is the state of Florida. So it is a concern for them, and it was. And back about 20-something years ago, they did a study, and if anybody wants some light reading, I brought some copies and I'll pass out. They did a very extensive study in the field and in the laboratory to check on the potential and the issue of flammability. And what they came away with was the risk was so minimal that they decided to go ahead and approve the product. And as Sean said, I take my family down to the beach at least once a year. When we get on 331 and cross the state line, all I see is thermoplastic pipe. I see very little any other product. So I'll definitely leave some of this with you. The other thing that we talked about last week, and I just want to reiterate this, is your driveways are 24 foot wide. I think that's correct. While we do make 20-foot standard lengths, we do make 24-foot one joint, one stick of pipe, where you don't have three joints, you have no joints. So I want to make sure everybody understands that too. So I think my time is up. If you don't mind.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else, Pam?
Rob Wetzler.
Hi guys, my name is Rob Wetzler. I also work for Advanced Drainage Systems. I'm the regional manager for the Southeast. And really what I wanted to talk to you about is just like our footprint on the state, on the county, and what we do here. In the surrounding area, just locally here, we have 8 distribution partners, 70 employees, selling our product every day, available with trucks to make deliveries, to service issues when they come up. And so we have, not only that, my plants are in Jackson, Mississippi, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Perry, Georgia, Cordele, Georgia, Beaufort, Georgia. We're a Southeast-based company. Another big piece of ADS is our recycling initiative. We own a company called Greenline Polymers. We're the largest HDPE recycler in the South, arguably in the United States. So we're focused on alternative solutions that will offer value. And all I ask of everyone here is to consider the value of competition. And in my geographic area, we've had cities where overnight where we were considered, literally the dynamics, not just on a particular job, but in an entire city, an entire region, 40% difference from one day to the next. That never happens unless you consider competition. And we just want to be a resource. We're not asking to talk negative about some other product or some other company. We just want people to have an open mind and consider what we have to offer. We're doing it in other places in the South. We're doing it in other states. We're involved in DOTs. We're putting in the grassroots. We're putting in the resources, hiring the people, and jobs. And just ask for that equity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Pam, do we have any more?
No, sir, I have no one else signed in.
All right, thank you. Pam, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Samet,
Here.
Commissioner Turner,
Here.
Commissioner Black,
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here. Mr. Black, would you lead us in the pledge, please? I will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All righty. First on the agenda, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes from March 13th, 18th, and 27th of 2019. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Samet. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Turner. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Samet.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Second on the agenda, I'll ask for a motion to approve claims in front of the commission of the amount of $2,579,918.23. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Black. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Turner. Do I have any discussion?
Commissioner Harrison.
Oh, Commissioner Harris. Well, I thought, okay. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Samet.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Do we have any conflicts of interest of anything coming in front of the commission today? With everybody's silence, I'll take that as a no. First thing on the resolution order, I'll ask for a motion for resolution requesting all pipe placed in the county right-of-way by county personnel in the right-of-way maintained be concrete. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Black. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Turner. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a couple of things I want to discuss. In light of some things that happened since we had this meeting last week, we found some information here that's going to probably take care of this. What I'll end up doing is I'll end up wanting to make an amendment, which we will not be able to do today because talking with Mark Macklin, we didn't discuss this in the work session, so we can't take it up and vote on it today, but this is something I would like to look at doing in the future. If we have a policy for installation of driveway turnouts on county right-of-way. This was adopted on the 4th day of December 2006. On the 4th day of 2006, we have here where it says the Limestone County Commission may install driveway turnout pipe provided by the property owner, provided the pipe has been sized and the materials conform to the requirements of Section 2. The installation of owner supplied pipe by the county shall be at the cost to be determined by the County Commission. All right, not a problem. That's something that where we were saying that if it came in, if we would provide any type pipe. That's what this is saying, okay? And B of 2, it says driveway turnout pipe shall be reinforced concrete, galvanized, corrugated steel, or smooth line plastic pipe. In no case shall unlined corrugated plastic pipe be installed on the county right-of-way. Other materials or types of pipe may be approved by the county engineer on a case-by-case basis. Now, what I want mine to say, the amendment that I have, and then I have another couple of things here to say, is where we would amend that policy of installation of driveway turnouts. There's been mass confusion, social media, people calling on the phone, everything. We are not saying you cannot have plastic pipe in your right-of-way. We're saying that Limestone County was not going to come out and put it in or cover it. I have somebody last week that put in 120 feet plastic pipe, came in, covered it, put sod on top of it, looks great. You know what? The only thing they didn't do is follow this policy, and now they're going to have to put in drop in an inlet so it can drain. We're not going to go remove the plastic pipe from the ditches. My amendment would say that the installation of driveway turnout by the Limestone County Commission would be, as in 2006, be concrete. That's it. That's all I said. There's not a conspiracy theory behind my ideas. There's not, I don't know what my reasoning is for coming up with this. It's because we've already done it. We did it 13 years ago. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not standing up for the small guy. We're not trying to find somebody who rubbed 2 nickels together. It doesn't make a difference if you're a millionaire or if you're a pauper. You're going to have to buy a pipe. And that pipe, as it is right now, must be concrete. So I just want to make sure that we go through there and that we fix it to the point that if plastic is put in, it is not put in by the Limestone County Commission. It's put in by whoever you choose to do so. Now, under this same policy, the engineering department will be the ones to come out and look at it. Because let's be honest, this gentleman right here told us the other day it's a different type of aggregate that makes the plastic really work better. I mean, it does. You got to have certain weight, certain coverage, all that kind of stuff. Well, at the end of the day, I don't want to be responsible for that because 15 years from now, I don't want somebody else to have to do it. We know that concrete works. But in the free enterprise system, it'd be great if y'all put in a bid and you did all that stuff because it's not a monopoly. We just have one option to choose from right now. That's y'all's fault. That's not my fault. If 10 people do the concrete piping and they put in a bid for it, we go and we choose the most responsible bidder. It doesn't have to be the lowest one. If we don't have but one option to choose from, that's not his fault, my fault, none of our faults. I would love it if there were tons of them that put in for it. But right now, the option we have, and even Ben had pointed out, it's not good because, yeah, they can fluctuate and choose what they want to do because if you're the only show in town, you can charge whatever the price for admission you want. But at this point right here, I'm not trying to hurt the little man. I'm not trying to be the plastic killer or anything like that. I'm just telling you that we don't need the responsibility of putting in the plastic pipe, and I'm just going to reiterate some of the policies that people way before us had already done. I mean, that's all. Mark, can you add to any of this? Can you say anything to it just to make it not sound like that we're just up here being a big bully and saying we're just going to put in concrete?
I think that the same thing I think I've talked with each one of you individually about is my concern is with the additional care that is required to go with the plastic pipe to make sure that it's installed correctly and has the correct cover and the correct cover remains on it. I just don't want the county to be put in a position to where you guys or the guys following you have a point of contention between the property owner and the county where someone supplied a pipe and then we installed it and we're told and they say, well, the county installed it, so you're responsible for it. And like I said, I think that's been the same thing I've said to all of you is that's my concern with the county installing it. We know we can install the concrete pipe and we can walk away and have confidence with it. But we haven't been installing the plastic regularly. We don't, and so what you're asking to do would put it so that we have where we install something we're comfortable with, and then someone else can install a material they're comfortable with. If they hire their own company, their own landscape contractor or something that's what they use, then that would be then it would give them that confidence and that satisfaction that it was done according to the manufacturer specification.
And this goes both ways. I mean, if you look down here at one of them, it says the Limestone County Commission will not provide or install pipe larger than 48 inches in diameter. We're not supposed to put in anything over 48 inches in diameter, and we did that last week.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
it's right
and
here
to
that
be,
we're not supposed to do that. So not only did we
and to be
not
fair,
put in plastic pipe, we put in concrete pipe that we're not supposed to do based on right here, Section 2A.
And to be fair, like I said, since we had the discussion last week, this is the first time that I've seen this policy. I'm sure that I should have been educated on it, but this is the first time that I've seen the policy. I had heard, I had been told there was a policy in place for concrete pipe under the roadways, and so I had been going under that assumption, but this is the first time I've seen this policy. So, our department's going to be following this policy to the letter from here out.
So engineering won't be helping put in 60-inch concrete pipe anymore because we're not
based on what we have, we wouldn't. Based on this policy, based on this policy.
Well,
now that I'm aware of it, we won't be doing that.
It's there. You just had to look it up. I was accused last week of not ever going down and checking on anything and looking to see what each budget department had and all that. This is not the only guy right here that goes down and does some figuring and looking at some stuff. I do that too. I think the rest of us do. So that's a little insulting because before I put in 60-inch pipe, I would have known if I was able to put in 60-inch pipe or not.
Well, like I said, this is the first time that I've since our discussion last week was the first time that I had been presented with this. So engineering will be following this to the letter of the law. So so from here on out. But like I said, going back to the plastic, that's my one concern as I've discussed it with I think each of you individually, is that I just don't want there to be a point in the future to where we have heartburn between a property owner and us, because I mean those happen anyway. So a owner supplied material and then we go in and install it. Well, there's a bunch of fingers pointing in different directions. So like I said, that's my concern with us covering an owner supplied material.
And concrete, we have 4-foot sections that all of us have had to have headaches over. I think 2006, that's what this right here was over, because the 4-foot concrete sections weren't any better than any other dream they could come up with. So we're going back and replacing the concrete 4-foot sections because they separate. And we don't have anything with 8-foot sections now that butt up against the 4-foot section. So we just did it in 2 locations on Huntsville Browns Ferry. Removed all the 4-foot ones, had to go right back with the concrete in that area. So.
And not to mention the amount of galvanized pipe that we've all had to replace.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
And Brian,
made out of paper mache and be as good as some of that galvanized stuff we
Brian, I talked to you the other day. That situation where you got concrete pipe here and concrete pipe here, and somebody wants to put a driveway in here, and then the required amount of cover that both you and the other guys that were at the meeting the other day said it's 12 inches is spec. Y'all don't offer an arch pipe in plastic, do you? Okay, so that's one way we can fight when we have a height issue, is we can go with the arch pipe to maybe get it down a little bit. So my biggest issue is that there's so many concrete pipes already installed in the ditches. If I try to come in between those concrete pipes and install a correctly sized plastic pipe, if I can't get it deep enough to make the connection smooth for whoever's turning off the road, and then I have to ditch down in order to get the 12 inches of cover, then I've created a ponding issue between those 2 concrete pipes, which then returns as, well, now I need to start removing everything downstream in order to get this ponding issue taken care of. So then that's got me going out there trying to cut this driveway, cut that driveway, reset this pipe, reset that pipe, tear up all these yards that are already in place. I mean, it would be a headache in my district to try to start doing that at this point. It just seems like if it's concrete here and concrete here, I need concrete in between, especially if it's in a situation where I need to be able to go deep enough to get the correct amount of cover over the current plastic pipe. I think every one of you might have the misconception that we're up here saying, well, we hate plastic. Well, I don't hate plastic. It's been installed in my district in multiple locations for driveways. We're not trying to cut the plastic out. If you want to install it and it fits and he gives it the go-ahead from an engineering standpoint, I don't have a problem with you putting it in. But you putting it in, or the homeowner putting it in, or the developer putting it in, but it's just, if it would lay in there flat and we could cover it with 12 inches without having to ditch down 12 inches to get the 12-inch cover, it may be a different story. But I don't think that's going to be the case in a lot of places in my district.
I don't want to break protocol. Can I respond to that at all?
No, sir.
Okay. That's fine.
But one thing on here that worries me, it says, we're going to go with this as the engineer on a case-to-case basis. A lot of the pipes, places it will not. We've had people that's called me. Tony Luanny called me this morning. He said a lot of cases plastic will not work. We cannot put it in a lot of places. So, another thing here, it says to install, determine on cost based shall be cost to the determination by the county commission. So if we install plastic, we're going to have to charge a different price for every job. We can't come up with a set rate. That's going to be an issue too because of material cost. When you get the aggregate, aggregate to cover this pipe is going to cost more than aggregate to cover the next pipe. So that's an issue we'll run into too. Well, if we charge so-and-so here $300, the next person $400, then you'll have the public perception saying, well, why'd you charge me $100 more? And the pipe would have only cost me $100 more than a concrete. Well, it's an aggregate issue because it's the material it takes to cover it. And that's my forsake on it. That's why I hate to say that it be on a cost-to-cost basis there. But with that being said, any more discussion there?
Yes, yes.
Go ahead, Ben.
Quite frankly, I don't know where to begin, but I will start. Okay. I'm a free market kind of a guy. I think that we ought to encourage competition. Competition, you heard him say, that was amazing to me, that when you had the black poly pipe approved in an area, their concrete prices went down 40%. Okay, ours have gone up 20 to 40%. You're looking at a thing that was done in 2006 in a totally different cost environment, totally different competitive environment. You've got a solution here that properly installed is a viable solution, cost-effective solution that actually will be lower than the installed, especially when you go into the larger size poly pipe where you don't have to have a track hoe or a crane to install it. Okay, this was done in 2006. I don't know why the 48-inch size limitation was done. It's probably because we didn't have a piece of equipment, the ability to install a 5 foot or 6 foot. I now have the ability to install 5 foot and 6 foot diameter pipe, concrete pipe. The customer is I installed one last week that violated this policy that the engineer didn't know about. I didn't know. None of us knew about.
I knew about it.
Okay.
My one question is, are you saying, let's just back up here. Under the road itself, our policy says we use concrete on it.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're fighting at. And the next policy is there's no policy saying you cannot use plastic pipe in your driveway. But what I'm saying is in your free market, that's allowing people, private sector work. So right. I don't really understand. With this policy in place as of today, for us to install a piece of plastic pipe, we have to determine the cost on each job. That's what this policy says.
Okay, that's fine.
And
we said those at the beginning of the year.
Like I said, I'm not saying that don't need to be changed or cleaned.
Yeah.
So
probably should be lower for the plastic pipe.
Well, wait a minute, hang on. We've got to put different agreements in there because we can't use slag. We can't use. It says
what?
The gentleman the other day said that it was a sand or a gravel-based agreement used, right?
Well,
and a clay-based.
You can use slag, and that makes it simple. The slag is like $2.50 a ton. You're not going to find dirt for $2.50 a ton, and it's heavier, it's denser, and it's a viable alternative.
I can't use it, the slag in most of mine because like down around Browns Ferry, they have the fiber optic lines we have to keep in check with. You can't do a line locate when you got slag. It gives you a feedback.
False reading.
False reading. So I can't do water lines. I can't do power lines. I can't do any of that because if I do, I'm getting a feedback.
You can. You just choose not to.
No, we can't. We've tried. We've sent them down there, and they weren't able to do
That's
it.
right.
And the reason they couldn't do it is because we had put slag.
If there's a line, if there's a locator line in there with if they put the line in there, they can't. The tracer line, they can't.
Well, I don't work for AT&T, so I don't know about all that. All I know is I got to go out there and dig a spot right here, and I can't find it.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, we're getting off course on that.
Okay, well, let's get back on course.
Let's get back on course. What I'm saying, I do know this for a fact, though, being coming from the utility world, that the utility lines going like TVA are non-traceable because of security reasons. They were put in that way, so you have to have them. The only way they can trace, your fiber optic cable is buried with a non-traceable metallic thing, so they have to hook on it. If you put something in there that messes our locator up, you could. I'm not.
How did they do fiber optics anyway?
They got the hook on it with a box, but it can give the boss. But that's besides another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll just stick with the discussion here is about the pipe.
Then let me go on.
We're not going to put plastic pipe under any of our county roads. That's what the resolution is.
That's the resolution, but we're not through with the discussion.
Okay, go ahead. We discuss.
Okay. All right. I did some cost analysis on it that had been talked about. It's only $100 difference. Well, if we had, what prompted this is when I saw these 20 to 40% increase in prices. And you remember back in the work session, I said, Mark, go right now and get a bid for black, because we had talked about this previously. I said, get a bid for black poly pipe. and then that started. And then that was off the table. No, we're not going to get bids for it. But if you get bids for it, the savings is all the way could be $350 on a 30-inch, $200 for a 15-inch. It varies by pipe size. If we got bids, I got estimate of bid what we would receive if we let it out for bids, because that's what I wanted to do. You said that these guys were at fault because they didn't offer a bid. We didn't go out for a bid. That's what I was wanting to do. It's not their fault. We just wouldn't do it. Okay.
Well, what are we bidding for? We're bidding for. We're not going to put plastic onto the roads, right?
Right.
So we're bidding.
We could bid for driveway pipe.
Well, I mean, that puts us in the competition with people like Flanagan's and
Lowe's.
and I think
That's
even
right.
Wholesale even sells plastic
That's right.
pipe.
Yeah.
I mean, the customer can. The customer is more than welcome.
But we're doing
to
that.
go purchase it.
We're doing that. In that, couldn't that be the same thing for concrete pipe? We're competing with Flanagan. We're competing for these other that provide concrete pipe. My thing is, you're isolating and treating black poly pipe different from concrete pipe. You should treat them the same. If you don't want to put in black poly pipe on driveway pipes, and you don't think that we should do like the state maybe and not do driveway connections at all, then you don't do it for concrete. You don't do it for black poly. Okay. You're treating black poly, which is a viable alternative, and concrete differently. And you should not discriminate when it's a technical. There's no technical difference between them. You're denying our constituents a cost saving to a viable solution. And everything like we proposed is that it would go through Mark. If your situation, Steve, if you had a situation like that, he wouldn't allow it to be put in. And that speaks to the argument of having them come in and us requiring, we talked about a permit process, them requiring to go to Mark and make sure it's engineered. See, I've got situations just like you had where I got one place where it's 200 feet. They put a pipe in and with no inlets. I want to stop that kind of stuff because that's costing us. Okay.
Well, we did.
So,
I just sent them out and we told them what they had to do.
But okay,
let's go. Let's clarify this. All right. We got the Limestone County Commission. This is D. Turnout provided may install driveway pipe provided by the property owner, provided the pipe has been sized and material conforms to the requirements of Section 2. Go back to Section 2. Driveway, and this is with us installing it. Okay. You go back to Section 2. Driveway turnout shall be reinforced concrete, galvanized corrugated steel, which I utterly despise, or smooth lined plastic pipe, which is what these gentlemen and what we have it offered. So we right now, according to this policy, now y'all correct me if I'm wrong, we can install and cover smooth lined plastic pipe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, but it also says the last sentence there that we didn't read was, it shall be at the cost to be determined on each individual case. That's where we're...
Yeah, by type and diameter.
That's where we're...
And that's what we do right here.
I do that based on concrete.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll have to adjust the price to cover based on plastic, and I'll probably have to work with these guys to make sure that what I'm figuring on price because it will be a little different because their spec for install is different.
Right. And I don't know.
So when you talk about I figure that for concrete.
Yeah. So. And it would have to be configured for plastic.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to meet this. I would have to.
So right now we can't definitively say that is a cost savings because the cost to cover.
Yeah, like I said.
Well, the pipe itself is significant, just itself, and you don't have to have another heavy on the higher sizes. You don't have to have another heavier piece of equipment. You don't have to have the low boy to carry the track hoe around. So anyway, that is when you are restricting, and this is, and Mark was okay with me putting in the 5 foot, the 60-inch, and the 72-inch thing, concrete pipe. I mean, the reason this was done.
Not his decision though, because we got a policy. He can't.
I mean, in the situation, I mean, I
just
told
a
him
mistake.
Exactly. That was me not being aware of it.
But no, he can't. He can't come and say we're going to put in an 8 foot one because we said Sometimes a long time ago, before me and you got here, it said we can't.
But there's no justification for that. There's no justification for it. It's the epitome of government regulation. It's a restrictive government policy.
A
Okay.
conspiracy. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. You're
Well, I don't
exactly
know.
right. You're exactly right.
We
Dan. That's
conspire.
exactly what it
We
is.
conspire every day. We're conspiring right now to work out problems to.
No, we're
Yeah.
discussing. Conspiring is different than discussing.
No, it has negative connotations, but conspiring.
I'm discussing.
Yeah, we conspire. Well, look up the definition.
Well, anyways, I know
Okay.
one thing. We're
All right.
getting a long way to Grandma's house from here, but
But we're
the
not.
one thing is that this is the policy as it stands today. We cannot use anything but concrete in the rights way, under the road.
No, that's not. No.
I said it does. It says it does
Under
say-
the road. Absolutely. I
yeah.
agree with that. I'm on the record.
And the
No.
next step is that where we're going with this, and my understanding is that you would want to see what it costs to cover a plastic pipe versus a concrete pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I mean, Mark could research that, and I mean, we could come back with a cost analysis on that. I mean, I understand. I mean, I don't understand where we're really going with this conversation. I understand that we got a discussion here about what it's costing to cover one.
Right.
And it says in our policy that was adapted in 2006, said a motion was made by Mr. Gerald Barksdale, and it was seconded by Mr. Bill Dawes, and all 4 commissioners voted on it, and it was adopted. And I'll be honest with you, I had never read this policy till this
I
morning
hadn't
at 6
either.
o'clock.
I guess
And
Jason's the only
it
one
was
that's read it.
this oversight. You read this policy, it goes down through here, and it never says anywhere that any of people in Limestone County cannot use a metal, plastic pipe, and the free enterprise world can buy them all day long. We've never had a bid for plastic pipe.
Right.
Okay, so
I mean, there is. I don't know. Here's 1, 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 counties that do. And here, this is just in North Alabama.
But are they bidding them to putting them under the road themselves, or are they bidding them for driveway use only?
Combination. Muscle shows Etowah and Coleman do it under the road. Under the road.
But their policy allows it to put under the road.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's as you've heard them say, it's been done in states and counties all over this country.
Well, I mean, that may be something we look into to see if we can
And-
bring up a vote and see if anybody wants to put plastic pipe under the road later in another meeting.
That's true. Mark and I talked about.
But today,
Holly.
we cannot put plastic under the road.
Okay. May I have the floor?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. As I was getting into the customer that I put in the 6-foot pipe for last week, and also the 2 rows of 5-foot pipe, they are very thankful to have that option. Okay. That costs them, save them time and money of them building a bridge or whatever. We did not have the equipment to put in 5 and 6-foot pipe. There's 14,000 pounds per stick of the 6-foot, 10,000 pounds for the 5-foot. We didn't have the equipment. I purchased a crane because I've got that box culvert on Lakeview Street under that needs to be reset because somebody didn't set it right. They didn't put a concrete base under it. I've got to tear that thing out and put it back in. I've got a bridge that I can replace with concrete pipe, 6-foot concrete pipe. So this should be changed because our conditions are different. Our cost, back in 2006, the difference between poly and concrete wasn't that great. I think it was a bad idea to restrict it back then, but it really wasn't restricted because it says that we can cover black plastic pipe with this existing policy in driveway. Now, is that an error? Am I in error there? Clarification.
Well, we agree with you there.
That's what it says.
But it says on a cost basis determined by it says also
Sure.
each cost basis.
Sure. And then let the customer choose. Let's have him that option. That's all I'm asking. It would be an advantage to us, and it will help us in containing our cost years down the road. Because look, the prices will increase. They'll keep on increasing the price until another manufacturer comes in here and gives competition. Okay. Competition is a beautiful thing. We're trying to reinforce a de facto monopoly. That's bad. That is bad from every standpoint of economics. I mean, if people wonder why the costs are going up on the road, people wonder why the gas tax was required. It's because there is no focus on cost issues and trying to contain cost. And I'm trying to do that. And I'm trying to provide for us, because it'll affect our concrete prices, and also to the taxpayers. And that's all I'm asking. This is a restrictive, not in terms of black poly. I want to keep this the same in terms of black poly pipe. For us covering smooth line black poly pipe. I want us to revise it to include, I don't care what size of concrete culvert is required. As long as it's properly engineered and we have the capability to install it, we should do that. And I don't understand what the impetus for this is. So I would suggest and encourage y'all to reject this restriction. If you approve this resolution, you would increase our cost both to us in terms of our future concrete prices and to the constituents. I don't see how you can look your constituents in the eye when you're going to increase their cost. I don't know.
How are we increasing their cost by telling them that we won't install a plastic pipe? How are we increasing?
Because we can do it just like we do concrete pipe. If you remove and treat back poly pipe, okay, by requiring them to put this resolution requires them, for us to install it, it will have to be concrete. Am I wrong there? If we're installing it, we're only going to install concrete pipe. Is that correct?
That's right. That's what the resolution says.
Yes.
Why?
Well, let me ask you this. Currently, prior to today, this is April 1st, so we got new prices, but under the old prices, 15-inch concrete, 24-foot, $660. That's right, isn't it? I think that was the last price. Okay. So the issue at hand is how much cover it takes to cover a plastic pipe. This gentleman here, along with the people from Foley, both agreed that it took 12 inches.
Where it's 6 inches for concrete, right?
I don't know about the 60. I don't know about the concrete.
Huh?
You don't have to have 6 inches on concrete.
Is it Mark Macklin?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Can I allow him to answer the question since I have supposed to have the floor?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Respond to that, sir.
So if you look at national standards, the American Concrete Pipe Association publishes fill pipe charts for class 3 concrete pipe, and it varies on diameter. 4 feet is the minimum requirement. Some diameters
4 feet?
No, my mistake, 2 feet. My mistake, 2 feet. And in some smaller diameters, it requires a class 4 concrete pipe to have a foot of cover, but none of them without a special design goes to 6 inches. Now they will work. I've designed them for 6 inches of cover, but it's a special design to do that.
So how much? Now go back to the plastic requires,
We recommend our national standards a foot of cover as well.
and then that concrete takes.
A foot of cover. Again, it varies based on class. Concrete comes in varying classes of pipe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most common, and I'm assuming most common this area because I don't know this specific area, but nationally, class 3 is very common. And based on that national publication, class 3 requires in some cases 2 feet of cover, and in others it gets away with a foot of cover.
Well, I mean,
We can give it if you look on.
All right, let's
But
Very similar backfill as well.
yeah, and we have the ability now. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, other than I think you were mentioning about the cover. I mean, the cover differences of cost in the cover is minimal. I mean, if you look at, even if it was 6 inches, let's just say, hey, it was 6 inches different between the black poly and the concrete. That, in terms of the cost of the installation, is minimal. I mean, if you do it with slag at 2 feet, $2.50 a ton, I mean, it's minuscule. It shouldn't be an issue. So, like I say, you ought to reject this resolution because this removes an option. It removes an option because right now you've got this of 2006. We can cover it. Your resolution will remove that option, and that's a bad idea. I'm done.
All right, thank you, sir.
Could I address something real quick?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
On this resolution, as I said before, I made the motion for us to be able to discuss this, and was glad we got a second, because if we cannot, what I am wanting to do after reading this, I can't make a motion for us to change this right now.
No, sir.
That can't be done. So this will have to come back to a later date. So it's not that I am not still understanding the direction I was wanting to go. I would have to make a complete new amendment to this resolution to this. So today, I'll tell you that when it comes to a vote, that I will be voting nay on this simply because it is not legal for us to do it the way that it is written today, because we did not advertise this last Wednesday. Does that sound right? Am I close?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. First, I would say, for everybody's clarification, conspiring or to conspire is for an unlawful act. You are not conspiring today.
That's illegal. Okay.
Collaborating, discussing, whatever you want to call it, deliberating in your open meetings, not conspiring to do anything else.
Okay.
That said,
I'm glad we're not conspiring.
Me too.
Our motives might be off if we were.
Yeah.
That said, your options with what you have in light of the policy, if you acted on the resolution and it passed, I believe you would have to come back and take another action to amend the policy, because you would arguably have two things that would seem to be in conflict with each other.
Okay.
Which then, obviously, if it failed, even by Commissioner Black, who made the motion, and any other votes, if it failed, then arguably nothing changes, and the next thing would start anew.
We follow a 2006 policy.
We follow this policy
to that end. Someone can also make a motion to lay this on the table, get a second and a vote there, and that would remove it from the commission's consideration altogether, since there has been a motion and a second and it is before the commission. So that's the
Can I make the motion to table it? Since I was the one that made the motion to begin with?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to table it.
Do I have a second on the motion table?
Second it.
I call for a vote on that.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All righty. Next thing on here, we have no contracts or grants and agreements, no budget revisions, no merchant purchases, no board appointments. All right, under the award of bid here, we have I'll ask for a motion to approve the gas and diesel with W.H. Thomas at a 30% margin over rack. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Black. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Samet. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Under personnel action, I'll ask to employ Rebecca Lynn Shirley as a corrections officer at the Limestone County Jail pending a drug screening. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
So Commissioner Turner, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Black. Discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. At this point, I'll turn it over to our engineer, Mr. Massey.
Yes, thank you. I have on here to rescind approval for AG Place subdivision. This was approved November 11th, 2018, but before it got recorded, the property owner and surveyor found a error in the survey and the subdivision on their side, and so what we had approved would have been approved in error. So I have on here to rescind that previous approval. And then we have 5 subdivisions then for your consideration. These are all minor subdivisions, so small lot type subdivisions, so with no new construction of roads. White and Webster subdivision would be one lot out of a larger tract. So northeast intersection of Quinn Road and Blackburn Road in District 4. New Center subdivision, it's 3 lots in District 3, east side of Spring Road in Tanner. Gibbs subdivision, 2 lots in District 1, south side of Vito. AG Place subdivision would be 3 lots in District 3, northeast side of Browns Ferry Road and Reed Road. And then Walker's Enchanted Forest. This is actually a combination, 2 lots to 1 in a previously approved subdivision. It's east side of Christie Drive in Tony in District 1.
All right.
And those are the items I have for your consideration.
If there's no problem with none of this, I'll just take all this up in one vote. With all that being said, I'll ask for a motion to approve all what's put in front of us from the engineer today. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Salmon. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Under other business, I'll ask for a motion to approve the 2019 January expense report for Caleb King for Principal Transportation. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Black. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Excuse me. Next thing on the agenda, under other business, I'll ask for a motion to approve the resurfacing of Lucas Ferry Road from Moyers Road to Sanford Road by a contract of the county forces not to exceed $300,000 and to be reimbursed 50% by the city of Athens. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Black. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Samet. Any discussion?
This, Mark and I talked about this at the work session. This is an area that we would be, the city of Athens is splitting with. There's a chance that our engineering group would actually do the paving. So we're looking at,
Depends on timing.
yeah,
and that kind of
timing.
thing.
We're looking at lots of different options, but we need to go ahead and get this business taken care of. Don't know if we'll follow through on this or which side we'll go on, but we need to go ahead and get it
Yeah, we need to have approval so that we can work that direction to get this work taken care of.
Any more discussion on it? No more discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Third on the list here, I'll ask for a motion to approve County Engineering Department to take application requests for driveway pipe views online. Do I have such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Harrison. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Black. Any discussion?
I just, Mark, you just want to explain to them what this going to be?
Yes, I just know in part of the discussion last week, Jason wanted, at the end of his comments, wanted to make sure that everybody having the opportunity to make a request for our review was just as simple and streamlined as possible.
Right.
And so we think that by adding the ability for them to make those requests online
And we'll provide a phone number for, because
yeah,
everybody
absolutely. I mean,
doesn't have access to the
continue
internet. So we
to
need
take it by phone.
make sure we can do that too.
But a lot of people not being able to do that during work hours,
Right.
if they can do it after hours, that kind of thing. I mean, if you built a house and trying to do your job at the same time, I mean, it can get kind of frustrating. So this would just give somebody an outlet to be able to do those kinds of things after hours, and the next morning we would have the request in our work order bin.
Right.
So that's what this is about.
And it will eliminate one trip up here.
Yeah. So
That's good.
that's what this is about, and so Jason in his comments had requested us to streamline that,
Yep.
and this was the way that I believe is the best for us to streamline.
Agree.
All right. No more discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We have no scheduled public hearing. At this point, I'll turn it over to the reporter officer, Commissioner Samet.
Mr. Chairman, only thing I've got, Harvest Road widening and everything. I guess they're to the point now they're at a halt until they can chip seal. Is that right, Mark?
I believe that's correct. When they finish their widening, then they're waiting until chip seal. And
They've moved their equipment out, so anyway, they're ready to go with that as soon as the weather permits, I think. And on our chip seal secondary roads, we've got our first group. We give 2 more days, we'll be ready for our first group, and I'm going to go ahead and set up all my secondary roads to be ready whenever you are. That's all I have right now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Samet. Commissioner Turner? I'll ask for a motion to suspend the rules of order to add to the agenda on the contract schedule. Has its motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Commissioner Turner. Do I have a second?
Just a second.
Second by Commissioner Harris. Any discussion?
Do you? Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is kind of my fault. I was supposed to have brought this up in our work session, so that's why I put this on here to suspend the rules to add some additional work to our construction schedule for Steve.
Will it be? Do you have this? Will it be after the chip seal season?
It is. It's scheduled for the end. I mean, this would go to the end. We have actually got some of his work that was planned earlier completed. And so with weather permitting, and we could possibly move it into that spot that is left open and possibly get it done before chip seal season, just weather permitting in time. So that's part of the reason for wanting to get this, go ahead and get this on the schedule. But if weather permitting in time,
we're just talking right now about suspending the rules. We're not talking about. But we get out of line all the time because people. We're gonna follow rules. We need to follow them.
I apologize.
I guess I need to call for a vote on that. Plan, please call for a vote on suspending the rules.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye. Next on the agenda, I'll ask to approve to add to the construction schedule the resurfacing of 3 cul-de-sacs in the Creekwood subdivision by county forces of an amount of $10,000. Do I have such a motion?
I make the motion.
Motion, Commissioner Turner. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Commissioner Samet. Now, any discussion?
Only discussion I'm going to add to it is on that schedule where they're listed to be in District 2, they're going to be in District 2 for that length of time, if it's 1 day or 12.
I will comment on that. We've got some weather days built into the schedule, and I want to reiterate this is a fantastic plan. We're set to do more this year than we've had in probably the last 2 or 3 years. And there are weather days built into the schedule. This schedule will not be firm, but because of that, and it's impossible to do that. It's impossible to say I'm going to get, so the schedule may, just like he just mentioned, we may be ahead of schedule. And there may be weather days that may put us behind schedule, but it will shift. It will go in order. Is that the understanding that yes. We have? It will go in order. So every district will get the jobs that's on the schedule, and it may be that we get to the end of the schedule and we're compressed for time. There's been flooding all summer. Who knows? There's weather. You can't predict weather. But the idea and the intent of this schedule is that we do it in an orderly fashion, and that's fantastic.
Thank you, Ben. No more discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Samet?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. At this point, I turn it back over to you, Commissioner Turner.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that we have not eliminated the use or the freedom of choice to use a plastic pipe in your ditch. So I don't think we will. I think the whole deal, even though it's been tabled, I want to make sure everybody understood that. You can use what you want to. Who you put it in may be a different choice.
Anything else, Commissioner Turner?
No.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Black?
I have nothing.
All right. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Harrison?
We're also trying to get our roads together. We drove through with Mark last week and looked at items that we have to address on our first batch of roads to be paved. And we're taking care of those issues. We're still dealing with a lot of the flooding issues. Actually, we've had a lot of concrete pipe the joints have come out, and we've had to address those. And you're just going to get that with 50-year floods. 50-year flood shows you where your weaknesses are, and we're addressing those. We're also addressing the potholes. Water, we were talking about this morning. Water is your number one enemy of roads. And so the first thing that you've got to address is all your drainage issues. And that's what we're doing. So anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrison. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. And first of all, I'd like to understand, we're not trying to tell you can't use plastic pipe, so I hope everybody understands that. With all that being said, we'll recess until 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 10th, 2019 to Washington Street Courthouse Annex, 310 West Washington Street. Thank y'all.